You know, for as long as we've told stories, we've dreamt of creating artificial life. Not from flesh and blood, but from, metal, gears, and wires. Today, we're going to trace that exact story, the story of robotics. We'll see how an ancient myth is right now becoming our modern reality.
So the big question is, how in the world do we go from this to this? I mean, on one side, you've got the myth of Talos, this giant bronze dude supposedly built by the gods to guard an island. And on the other, you have a real-life machine that can run, jump, and do backflips. It's a journey from pure imagination to incredible engineering, and it spans thousands of years. So let's trace that path.
Okay, so our story actually starts way back, long before anyone had even heard the word robot. This first chapter is all about something called automata. These were basically incredible mechanical marvels, but they weren't designed to work or to think. Their whole purpose was to create this breathtaking illusion of life.
So what's the thread connecting all of these amazing creations? Well, it's the why. For centuries, the goal wasn't about getting stuff done, it was all about wonder. You had the ancient Greeks dreaming up these powerful guardians like Talos. Then, fast forward to the 12th century, and you have the engineer Al-Jazari building a whole musical band powered by water just for fun. And then in the 18th century, get this, Jacques de Vaucanson creates a mechanical duck that could eat and, well, even digest its food. Its whole point was to perfectly mimic life. These weren't tools at all. They were pieces of art, these incredible clockwork masterpieces designed to just blow people's minds and show off how much we were starting to master the mechanical world.
All right, let's jump forward now to the 20th century. The industrial age is really hitting its stride, and this old dream of mechanical life, it's about to get a whole new identity. It's going to get a name, a famous story, and for the first time ever, a set of rules.
And here's something that might surprise you. The word robot, it wasn't born in some high-tech lab. Nope. It was born in a theater. Back in 1920, a playwright named Karl Čapek wrote a play called RUR. It featured these artificial workers, and he called them robots, which comes from the Czech word robota, meaning forced labor or servitude. And the play, well, it ends with the robots rebelling against their human masters. It totally tapped into all the anxieties people were feeling about the industrial age. So it gave us the word for sure, but it also gave us our first big cultural nightmare about artificial beings.
So just a couple of decades later, this young sci-fi writer, Isaac Asimov, he gets kind of sick of this whole robot rebellion story. He wanted to imagine a future where humans and robots could actually get along. So he came up with this brilliant ethical framework, the 3 laws of robotics. And what's just incredible about this is that Asimov literally wrote the first moral code for AI decades before a single real robot even existed. He basically gave the dream a conscience. But, it was still just a dream. The next step? Making it real.
And that huge leap, from fiction to actual fact, it didn't happen in some quiet, sterile laboratory. No, it happened on a noisy, greasy, gritty factory floor.
Okay, picture this. The year is 1961. We're at a General Motors plant in New Jersey, and a brand new kind of worker is clocking in for its very first shift. It's not human, and it's about to change manufacturing forever.
Everybody, meet Unimate. Now this was no walking, talking, friendly companion from the movies. It was a massive 2-ton hydraulic arm. Its one and only job was to move these scorching hot pieces of metal, a super dangerous, repetitive task that was just awful for human workers. But Unimate, it was strong, it was tireless, and it definitely didn't mind the toxic fumes. This was the real birth of practical robotics, not as a friend, but as a pure industrial workhorse, built to solve one very specific, very dangerous problem. So Unimate was pure brawn, all muscle, but it was also totally blind and mindless, just repeating the same exact motion over and over and over again. The next huge leap forward had to be about giving a robot eyes and a brain.
Yeah, if Unimate was the brawn, then Shaky was definitely the brain. And get this, it was only 5 years later. Over at Stanford, they built this robot that wasn't just programmed to do one simple thing. It was actually designed to think. Shaky was the very first mobile robot that could see its world and actually reason about what it was seeing.
So how exactly did it think? Well, Shaky followed this simple but totally revolutionary 3-step loop: perceive, plan, and then act. It would use its camera to perceive the environment, then its AI software, which back then was basically a really complex set of rules for solving problems, would create a plan, and finally its wheels would act on that plan. Now it was painfully slow. I mean, it could take hours just to cross the room.
But that simple process, perceive, plan, act, that is the fundamental building block for every single autonomous robot we have today, from the rovers on Mars all the way down to the Roomba vacuuming your floor.
Okay, so after Shaky, things really start to accelerate. Robotics just explodes out of the factory and the research lab. So let's fast forward a bit and see how these machines started showing up in every corner of our world. And I mean, they started going everywhere. In 1997, we put one on another planet when the Sojourner rover explored Mars. By 2002, they were in our living rooms with a Roomba cleaning our floors. And in our hospitals, the Da Vinci surgical system started giving doctors this incredible superhuman precision. Suddenly, robots weren't just for factories anymore. They were in space, in our homes, even in the operating room. And that brings us to right now, where it feels like we're in the middle of several revolutions happening all at once. You've got the agility revolution. I mean, have you seen those Boston Dynamics robots? They can run and jump like athletes. There's the collaboration revolution, with cobots designed to work safely right next to people. And the logistics revolution, with whole fleets of robots automating massive warehouses. But honestly, the biggest revolution of all is happening as we speak, the true fusion of a capable body with a powerful mind. What that means is that companies are now putting these super advanced humanoid bodies together with incredibly powerful AI, like the kind from OpenAI. So you can literally just say, hey, I'm kind of hungry, and the robot can understand that sentence, look around, see an apple on the counter, and figure out the whole sequence of movements to pick it up and hand it to you. That ancient dream of a helpful, intelligent mechanical servant, it's not science fiction anymore.
So think about that journey for a second. We've gone from a bronze giant in a myth, to a simple factory arm, to a machine that could think for itself, and now to an AI-powered humanoid that can actually understand what we're saying. That ancient dream isn't a dream anymore. It is here. And that leaves us with, well, maybe the most important question of all. Now that we can finally build them, what kind of world are we going to build with them?